Hi, Shoreline. We're back into our time with Psalm 27, and I thought maybe we would try the memorization to start out. So I'm going to give it my best shot here from Psalm 27, 1 to 3. So the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When evildoers assail me to eat up my flesh, my adversaries and foes, it is they who stumble and fall. Though an army encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war arise against me, yet I will be confident. Okay, not bad. I had a few pauses in there, but working through it. Hopefully you are too. It's a good reminder, especially this third psalm, or this third verse in Psalm 27. It's really about the idea of being surrounded, which is a bit of a terrifying feeling. And when you have that feeling of being surrounded, oh, I just touched my face. Um, you know, you might start, questioning everything, and maybe even demanding some kind of answer that you really you'll never know, or perhaps you're not entitled to at some level. And I think that whole idea of demanding answers is what Paul Tripp in his book "Shelter in Time of a Storm." He gets back to this in on page 142, and so, or 144. So if you have it, take a look at that little part from Tripp, because one of the good things that I think we get a reminder on is that there are times where we're very fearful in our hearts, and our hearts demand an answer, and yet at the same time we may not get those answers. And so what do? Our hearts become a flutter. Things start racing in our minds, and how do we really rest our hearts? And the good news really comes out, I think, of the first two parts of this psalm, Psalm 27, 1 and 2. What we are reminded of is that the Lord is our light. That is, He illumines our mind. He reminds us of the things we know to be true. The Lord is the stronghold of our life. He's a refuge. He's the one that we can run to, especially in His presence, wherever we are, to be able to calm our hearts down, especially during times where we just don't know the future. And so, as we think about those two things, the truth that we come back to, especially when our hearts start to demand understanding, are these things that we can be confident in: that the Lord is our light and salvation, that we don't need to be fearful, that the Lord is the stronghold of our lives. And when we even think about what we really we be afraid of, um, compared to the strength of God, really it's nothing. And yet there are so many things that we can be fearful of, and especially during this time. So as we think about it going into just this day, I thought Tripp's little prayer at the end of this chapter was really helpful. So thought I'd pray it before we go. This is what he prays, and this is what we can pray together. Help me, Father, today to let go of my need to always understand. Enable me to live in rest when I don't know before what will happen. Help me to have a restful heart when opposition is great and all I have is you. So it's a great little prayer just to be mindful of the fact that when our hearts demand answers and race when we don't get them, that we can find our true rest in knowing the Lord is our light and salvation. So just as we think about that prayer, we go into this day, we go into this weekend, thankful for what the Lord has done, and with our minds on the scriptures. Thanks, Shoreline. Have a great day.